Hello, hello. Can you boys hear me? Let me see if it's something subscriber only related. Yes. Let's go, boys. Finally, huh? I've been waiting for this one for quite some time here. This should be quite fun. I'm pretty scared, in fact. Um, I didn't expect us to have 40 car grids. I thought that the splits would actually be 40 drivers, but it seems like LFM is looking for some chaos, and we are set up for just that. Um, I don't know how this is gonna be. Yeah, as I said, I'm quite scared, and I'm thinking that we should be getting into some practice server action because I want to see how this track is gonna look like with 40 drivers. I still haven't done my fuel calculations, which is not ideal. We got the boys in chat already. Kevin, Jesse, Nick. I don't know how to say the other user, but Kev, I have shared my setup with my YouTube members. I just thought it would be nice to give them that extra treat for this special race. Okay, I think it's time for us to get into a server. How many shirts, Andy? That's a good question. I'm thinking at least 3. Okay. I'm already sitting over one. I have one on me, obviously, but I'm thinking that's gonna be gone in no time. Okay, I think we're all set. Nice. Salve, Guilherme. At the moment, I am using my own direct drive wheel, which is a product in development that should be coming out to the public in 2025 for the Brazilian market only. So that is something that interests you, most probably. I am sorry about the notifications. Let me set up my phone here so I can read chat while I'm driving. But I'm just not really going to be able to know when someone has subscribed. I still haven't set up my second monitor for the sim, which I should be looking to fix really soon. Okay. Nice. Whew. Okay. Let me do this. There we go. Nice. Nice stuff. Okay, we're gonna be getting into the practice server here. If we have space, and we do. But this server should be closing really shortly. Thank you so much for the sub, Guilherme, for the membership even. I really appreciate it, mate. Okay. We're gonna be finding out our fuel calculations together. So I'm gonna be starting with something like this. I need you guys to help me with sound. I wanna know if everything sounds okay. Right. Okay, this here so you guys can see it. Whew. Let me take a look at this on the stream to see if you guys can see everything. Sounds good. Okay, I think we can maybe go even a little bit higher in volume. Yeah, the floor is very bright. The track is made of concrete, and it does hurt your eyes for sure. I think I need to go even further there to the right. Okay. Let's do this then. I don't even know where the pit exit is. I can see Jesse here with the blue car. Oh boy. Oh! Sorry. Yes, special events are always limited to 80 slots. It's just hard for LFM to know how popular they're gonna be. But these events have been doing really good recently, so I'm hoping they can maybe bump up those max slots. Yeah, I'm sure that it's gonna be just fine, Felix. No chaos at all. Interesting. Yeah. Yep, that's how it's gonna be. So fuel estimation, we're gonna have to calculate that in a bit. Jesus. I should have warmed up. Holy. That's scary, boys. So as I just posted on Adam Galaxy's channel, I set up my flash button to my left pedal, because hopefully we're gonna be using that quite a bit in this race. Oh wow. Bora. Yep, Samuel. So it looks like Brazil just won the Daytona 24. We got the overall win with Felipe Nasser, which is awesome. I was really rooting for Augusto Farfus and Felipe Fraga, who's racing with Felipe Massa too. But it looks like they had some problems during the night. At one point they were leading, and then it looked like at one point they were all they were second to last, I believe. And I don't know what happened exactly, but I'm sure that something happened. So my setup feels extremely oversteery at the moment. It feels like the tires are not really hooking up. And I am hoping that's because I made this setup for the temperature that we're gonna have during the race. So I am hoping this is gonna go away. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, the amount of cars is gonna be insane, Romulo. I'm thinking that the right way to go about it, especially for quali, is gonna be to stay on track the whole time and just hope for a clean lap. We got Kev here in front of us, the most active driver in high racing, and we're gonna die. Oh boy. My wheelbase is a custom one that I'm building that's gonna be a product here in Brazil still this year. Okay, so let's calculate our fuel values here. So we gotta do 1500, which is 25 minutes in seconds, divided by 23, which is the lap time. So we should be looking at 66 laps of fuel, okay? So I'm thinking 20. Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, it's really delicate. It's really delicate. It's I think 19 is not quite enough. Yeah, I'm not sure. I think I'm going 20 just to be safe. 1 kilo is not gonna be that big of a difference. Let me do a little tweaking here. So yeah, let's do this. Okay. Oh boy, this is not good. Right. What's up, Rich? Oh, boys. So looks like we got 47 viewers already. So thank you so much, boys. Santi, if I recall, I think it's 22 on the right side. No, sorry, 17 on the right side and 22 on the left. normally for these oval setups and stuff, people generally have very low pressures on the left side. But that's a whole different tire construction, so we cannot rely on that. So I'm just going for the ideal in Assetto Corsa, which is around the 27 mark. So yeah, I don't think this tire model will benefit from lower pressures, just because we don't have that. I believe it's a radial tire in oval racing. We just don't have that radial tire construction to benefit from those lower pressures. So I'm thinking we should get into it again until the race starts. Yeah. Practice server 1. Inside's higher than outside. You mean in the setup, right? But in the hot temperatures, they have to be at the ideal values. It's just something that Assetto Corsa values, I think, even a bit too much. Okay, so in quali, we're gonna do like 8. Oh, Mark, I'm gonna need luck. Every bit of it. Every ounce of luck I can get, I'm gonna be taking it. That's a decent lap for traffic. Oh yeah. That's more like it. I'm interested to see on how the draft is gonna affect this race, because we're gonna be running relatively close to each other, but it's not... Oh boy. But it's not that high speed. Jesus. Oh, nice. Good retaliation for someone that was leaving the pits. Let's go. Does AC actually simulate dirty air? I think it does, Felix. I think it does. Are you okay, man? Yeah, I think it does. Just not maybe as much as other sims. Hey Adam, we're not multi-streaming yet, but one day we will get there. Oh yeah, Mika, we're doing it. Thank you so much, Billy. Thank you so much. I am definitely beatable. That's the only thing you're wrong about. Everybody looks like they're leaving the server. Hey Peter. God, I think my setup is just a tiny bit too oversteery. But nothing changed about it besides temperature, so I'm just gonna trust my own work and not mess with it. Oh. Is the server up yet? Or not yet? Oh. Let's do a little drifting. We do a little drifting sometimes, boys. Ah, sorry. Typical streamer causing chaos in the lobby. That's us. Let me see if it's up yet. Yeah, but that's the thing, Romulo. Normally, oval setup cars, they drift really well. The best drifting cars on iRacing, for example, are the oval cars. It's amazing. It's amazing. It is going to be chess. For sure. For sure. No music today, boys, because we got a nice little copyright strike there on the last one, so you're gonna have to endure some 25 minutes of MX-5 noises. Bump draft, a good idea. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Maybe if you're behind someone that has a good pace and they're driving safe, I believe so. I believe so. Yeah. Yep. We got all the bald eagles locked in for this one. Yeah, this straight is too short. It is indeed. But maybe if you are running a good pace behind someone and they don't really get the best exit out of one corner, yeah, I think that maybe just bump drafting them and keep going with your pace is gonna be not too bad. MX-5 on Indy next. That would be good. That would be good. Thanks, Rich. We're gonna need every bit of luck we can get. Whew. Come on, LFM. So, we got a decently stacked grid here. The SOF is not as high as normal, just because we have so many cars in the grid. Normally, starting this season, we get a 20 car max in every split, which certainly bumped up those SOF figures for every race. But I think it's still yeah, I think it's gonna add to the experience having this many drivers. Come on, LFM. Looks like the servers are not coping. Yeah. Is this happening to everybody? Okay, it is. No. That's unfortunate. Am I going to regret refreshing this? Yeah, I mean, it's not like we're gonna have any chaos. So yeah, just not letting people join the race is just that extra sprinkle of chaos to make the race interesting. Okay, don't think the server has opened. I hope you're right. I don't know, Craig. I don't know. I think we're just gonna wait it out. We're just gonna wait it out. Yeah, I think everybody should stop refreshing the website and just wait. Mm. No, no join button. Okay, that's not ideal. I just did what I told people not to do. Yeah, so it's down, big time down. Oh, okay. Session live, but no join button. Jesus, I'm sweating already. Yeah, my car is very asymmetrical. After this race, I'm gonna show you guys my setup. Just so you know, my baseline setup for this track was my Tsukuba setup inverted. So so I just I inverted the stagger, and that's where I started from. I had to tweak some spring stuff, but generally it was pretty decent. And the dampers are more aggressive as well. I don't want to open Discord right now, but can you guys tell me what Shudel is saying about the race? Hello, Suyash. Welcome to YouTube. Um, from my experience, the pace doesn't really drop off um, too aggressively. In fact, it kind of gets better as the tires get to their target pressures, because they start very far off their ideal. So on both sides, so the right side has to come up in temperature and the left side has to go down. So I'm thinking that after 10 or so laps, that's when you're gonna start seeing your ideal times. So actually, your ideal times should be on the first laps when your tires are still warm, uh, and then it's gonna improve again after 10 or so laps. Yes, you can, Kev. Yes, you can. If anyone wants to have some VR point of view of this race, just join whatever channel Kevin is in, and he's gonna be screen sharing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It seems like no one can join the race. Are we allowed to bump and run? Allowed is a very strong word. Very, very strong word. Just don't do it to me. Then it's allowed. It's only forbidden if you do it to me. Um, yeah, I believe so, Kev. Yeah, I believe so too. I don't think that bump drafting is going to be a viable option in normal conditions. Maybe if someone makes a mistake, if you're tandem driving with someone, you're on a good pace together, and the guy up front makes a mistake, then yes, bump drafting is probably going to be good. But in other situations, I don't think it's going to be enough. Yeah, Scott. Actually, there are two ways to bump draft. You can kind of be a little bit more I wouldn't say reckless, just be a little bit more lazy and just bump into the guy over and over again. But the better way to bump draft is when you get close to him and you get close to the guy up front, and when you're almost catching up to him, you kind of lift off the throttle a little bit to lower your speed delta. And once you can kind of uh, just almost touch him, you can go full on throttle and just kind of make your cars one basically. So you just yeah, I don't know how to say that, but you can just push him the whole time, and that seems to be the faster way. Yes, a slight lift before the bump. No worries, Jeff. Glad you're here. Yeah, so it seems like the issue is all over LFM. I don't know if that's better or worse, but yes, exactly, Kev. Exactly. It's very common for you to do a big bump on someone, especially on the beginning of a straight. So you give them like a 6, 7, 8 kph bump in speed, and you get sent backwards. And sometimes that's enough for you to send them out of the draft zone. Salve, Michel. Boa noite. Boa tarde. Yeah, SRS is DDoSing LFM. Based. Tinfoil hat conspiracies are the best. Yeah, I think this is just gonna shift the event a few minutes later. I don't think we're gonna miss. I don't think we're gonna miss out on quali or anything. I I wish we could do some bets here on what's gonna happen in the race, but I don't quite have that feature here on YouTube, I think. Yeah, I'm hoping it's not a bigger issue. It would be a shame to miss out on this event. Yeah, it's still off, Romulo. Yeah, I think someone needs to sign out from the race and use their MX-5 engine as a generator to power up the servers and so you can race. So if anyone wants to sacrifice the race, you're welcome to. Yeah, qualifying well is going to be super important. Yeah, I've never seen anyone do that on YouTube. I'm not interested in streaming on the purple side. Oh, join server. Join server, boys. Let's go. There we go. Oh, I don't have my livery on. What the hell? Oh, wait. Yeah. Oh yeah, I do. Nice. Let's go. Oh, this is cheeky. Oh, didn't load the setup. Sorry, boys. Good luck, Jesse. Hey, it looks like we got Nick here, rocking our livery. Yeah, this mod doesn't look the best. One thing that really bothers me about this mod is the empty grandstands. I think there's no excuse for that. Just make them like colorful and I don't know, just make it look like there's someone there. Okay, decent lap. We're looking to get at least into the 5s here. No. Yeah, we're getting flashbacks from that time with nobody in the grandstands. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, pits. And go back. Oh, I think I have way too much fuel. Looks like we got a nice pocket here. We got the Atom Galaxy going past us. No, Atom is behind us. No. We're gonna do a cheeky high line here to get a better start. There we go. Let's hope this is the one. Decent turn one. Nice. That's a good lap. That's a good lap. Overcooked it. Since we already have a good lap, I'm just gonna be passing people so I can get used to the feeling and the lines that I can take. The walls have really bad collisions. You kind of go into the wall, and that's obviously on purpose, because otherwise people would just be doing the... What's the guy's name? That did the wall ride. Yeah, Ross Chastain. way too much. But my pressures look good for the race. Oh, but this is gonna be so much fun. I can see it already. Yeah, it's a bummer you missed out, Scott. Look at this guy, man. This guy is gonna be a problem in the race. This Jeremy guy is gonna be a really big problem. He thinks he's entitled to something, and he certainly isn't. Neither am I in that case. Let's try this with lower fuel. Bro, what's the problem with this guy? Like, what am I gonna do against him in the race? What does he want from me? Yeah, that name is going down in history, boys. Write it down. You have echo from my mic? What? Okay, I'm gonna do one more lap and then I'm gonna check. Okay. Is it like the same quality, like same microphone but twice? Holy hell. How did I survive that? Okay, yeah. If anyone is very familiar with OBS, I would love it if you guys could help me find out what the problem is. Oh wow. That's almost a personal best. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, what about now? Is it better now? Stefan, it should be 20 liters of fuel. Still echo. Oh boy, that's not good. Oh, okay. What about now? Should be better now. Yeah, it should be fixed now. It's good now. Nice. Thanks, boys. Okay. So looks like we got ourselves in P1 with a 22.5, Stefan in P2 with a 22.777, which is beautiful. I wish I had that time. Then we got Ryan Fuller with 22.7, Adam with a 22.8, Kevin 22.8 again, Ricky Bobby, the man, with 22.9, Mattia De Campo, which isn't a Mazda driver. He normally races prototypes and stuff, those kinds of shit boxes. So he did a 22.9, yeah, 94, 22.94 again, 9.6 and 9.8. Simone is also friends with Mattia, and they race together. They're not gonna be shaking and baking, they're gonna be baking and shaking. Okay. Just reminding you that I'm gonna be sharing the setup after the race, just for knowledge purposes. The setup before the race was exclusive to our YouTube members, so I hope you guys can understand that. All right, good luck to us. Good luck, Stefan, everyone that's in the race. We're hoping to be alive in 25 minutes. Thank you, Vince. Oh, I can feel the weight of the car already. I am not looking forward to passing Jaime. That's gonna be interesting. Let's see if he's gonna go out of his way to crash into us. If that's the case, I'm hoping that LFM will send him some love. And he is 36th, which is, you know, fitting. Okay, let's focus up. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's get into a groove here. Yeah, comedic timing at its best. Not my fault, I swear. It's China shifter. Yeah, here comes the fun. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, we're locked in. Yeah, having a 3K SOF for a 40 car race is actually insane. I don't want to be flashing like crazy because people can kind of get used to being flashed and they start ignoring it. I only want to flash when it's necessary. I'm not gonna flash this individual because he's probably gonna get offended. Here he comes. Oh nice, he's behaving. Oh, we still got time. Don't worry, boys. It's not gonna be the last time we're gonna see him. That's for sure. It looks like not everyone has their liveries because Nick had the livery before, but now he doesn't have it for some reason. one thing that's super important to do whenever you're dealing, being that left traffic or just passing a slower guy whenever you have a poor qualifying. Interesting. Yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say, but it was something about yap, confidence. Yeah, because if you're not confident trying to pass these guys, you kind of give them mixed signals, and mixed signals is bad. This is fun. Until now. Yeah, Jesse is out. That's a shame. That's a shame. I'm so scared of that wall. Okay, we got some clear track to breathe now. We have a 8-second-ish gap to P2, so we can kind of take our time here going past these lappers. It's easy to say, but you guys know me. If you are in this race and you're having interesting incidents that you want me to look at after the race, just send me your name and the lap that it happened, and then we're gonna look into it after the race ends. We're not even halfway into the race, holy hell. Thank you. Oh my god, this is gonna be bad. Oh, what a Chad. Oof, that's very uncomfortable. Yeah, Jesse, we're gonna do that again in the future. I'm thinking that this is too good. We're gonna have to do some community races here on similar stuff. We do a little sliding. Yep. From my real life racing experience, I would say that I'm about 4 or 5 minutes away from the sweat, for the sweat to drop from my forehead into my eyes. There you go. That's a shame. Ryan left the race. He did good in quali. Yeah, I would never go for that inside. I was just showing my car to scare him into going wide. Please don't do that. Move away from me, please. Thank you. No, I would never be able to lap the whole field. We got the boys in P1 through 5. People are giving space, but they're being too greedy with it. They're not giving enough space. Oh, you scared me, Stefan. Oh no, Stefan! No! God bless your soul. 7 minutes left still. Holy shit. Alexander Kruk. Is this the man? The myth? The legend? Okay, I'm overdriving it a little bit. Okay, I can be patient. I have to be patient. Oh, it's Adam! Hello! Hello, Adam! A damn galaxy. Oh, Carlos just passed Adam because he gave me space. That's unfortunate. Okay. Adam is running out of fuel? No. Oh man, Adam said earlier that he thought that 16 would be enough. He didn't read chat for some reason because we were saying in chat that you needed 20. This honestly is super exciting to race and to watch. We're gonna do this again, for sure. We're gonna be talking real closely to LFM and maybe even, like, I don't know, do a Novo series. Because this is too good. Split 2 server connection died? Oh no. We could have done a DuPont Gel Gordon livery. How about that? Hey, what's up, Levente? Oh, I should not be doing this. Come on, come on, come on, final lap. Oh, I should have waited to help Adam not run out of fuel. Let's go. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, let's go, boys. Oh my. I am sweating in a way that I haven't sweat in a couple of days. Whew. Jesus. But that was nice. Okay, we're gonna save the replay and we're gonna rewatch it. Keep. Okay. Yeah, I gotta wait for my game to fully close, but whew. So, how was your race, boys? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, that was fun, man. We had some close calls. We definitely did. But I think overall people were super super respectful in general. Lap 3 times. Yeah, I'm pretty sure your race was pretty eventful, Nick. Yep, let's go, Kev. P3. That's the one. It's just a shame. Oh, you still got P4, Stefan. What happened there? Do you know what lap it was? Yeah, we're gonna save this. That is nice. That was a nice race. Okay. Let's rewatch that. Okay. In game. There we go. Adam was saving fuel, but did he manage to finish the race? Penny's P3 and gotten lapped. Yeah, that's very specific of this track. Yeah, I'm hoping they can somehow kind of I don't know, reinstate whichever position you were in before it disconnected, because otherwise it's gonna suck. Unfortunately, the camera is not the nicest at this track. How strong? Okay, my FFB is I'm using pretty much the whole 12 Newton meters that my steering wheel can give me. Okay, let's see this. So the start was pretty chill. Let's do no HUD. The Watkins Glen guide is coming out in about an hour or so. Oh yeah. This is when the chaos began. Okay. Not as bad as I thought. Oh, this was bad. Nope, not too bad. Oh, this is the scary guy. Check lap 45. Okay. Lap 45. And let's look for you. How do I turn on names? Is F11? No. F7? No, not this one too. Yeah, how do I turn on names, guys? Control L. Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's find Stefan. It's easier if we do it like this. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I'm a rookie AC racer for sure. I don't know any commands. Okay. No, I'm not Jeff. Jelf, I should say, the real name. Ah, that sucks. There's nothing you could have done there. Absolutely nothing. Yeah, but Alexander could have done something. But yeah, there was nothing you could have done. Absolutely nothing. It's like you could have gambled going to the right, but we can only know that's a possibility now because we're watching the replay. There's no way you're gonna do that call in the race ever. And if you do, that's a mistake. Even if it works out, you just got lucky. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. 3-point turn. This is when I go by, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. That's a shame. Oh. Yep. Can't park there. Yeah, does anyone have lap 59 too? Okay. I don't remember my incidents. Yeah, my memory is not the best. Lap 59. Let's start here. Right after we're done watching this replay, we're gonna be looking into the setup. Not really, Kev. Didn't really get hairy. It was just that I was too far down into the yellow line, so I kind of got blocked by the curb. So I had to get on throttle, and as a consequence, I kind of got oversteery there on exit. But it wasn't because of you. I mean, I was there because you were there, but there's nothing you can realistically do. It's like we were both trying to be safe. Yeah. Oh, Jesus. I kind of missed it. Let's see it again. This is some good awareness by Stefan. Bro, that's some really good awareness. Have a good race, Jesse. Good luck. Yeah, so let's try to find something on my end here. Yeah. Oh, this looks sketchy. Oh, okay. Oh, this is me going by Kevin. See, this is what I mean. It's like I'm gonna be too far down to the yellow line too soon, like this, so I get kind of oversteery, and that's just it. But yeah, there was something sketchy, really. Oh, like this. Yeah. Ah, this was so lucky, man. My race should have ended here. If this car wasn't here, I would have spun probably. But this is nice. It's like most people gave me the space. I was kind of I don't know, that I had to get for being the leader. Yeah, so you see, like it's like mostly everything is nice going through these lappers. It's like sometimes people don't give enough space, but I can see why. It's because they're having a fight of their own. So I can't like ask for them to drop everything they're doing to give me space. Salve Marechal. You see, like everybody's giving space. But I'm actually kind of glad that Jamie wasn't a bigger problem in the race there, because we ran into him in practice and quali, and both times he went out of his way to crash into me. So I'm glad he came to his senses. I don't know if he felt entitled that I shouldn't have passed him in qualifying, but I mean, it's 40 cars and a 22-second lap time, so if I don't pass you, it's like, what else am I gonna do? Yeah, so it was mostly very nice. So let's take a look into the setup. It's a shame that I kind of forgot everything that I thought about while doing the setup. Oh, okay. Once I take a look at the setup, I will go back to those incidents, Kev. Lap 19 to 20, I prayed. Okay, yeah. Let's write that. I'm gonna write that down somewhere, and then we're gonna look at it again. So here's the thing. When I first started making this setup, I thought of getting ideal pressures on the right side and going full low on the left. That was my first idea. And then I drove quite some time with that, and even though I know that's something people do, as I said before, I don't know if that's mostly something that's I don't know, specific to the tires that they use in their racing. So I came to my senses and I decided to run whatever pressure that AC likes. For this car specifically, it's 27 psi. So in terms of alignment, you can see that it's very aggressively cambered on the right side, very similar to what we use on our road setups, and the left side is actually positive cambered, just because we want that inside wheel to be digging into the tarmac. I tried starting it with a little bit mellower alignment settings, but I just went the whole way because I saw that it wasn't a big deal. At the start even, I was running everything towed out in the front, with a little bit of extra toe in on the outside front wheel, but I just thought that that was eating into my exit speeds a little bit too much, which is what happens when you don't have quite enough toe out. The car generally tends to be a little bit easier to get into the limit on corner entry and mid corner, but after that it's like you get a lower overall grip ceiling. So instead of being a peakier grip line, the grip kind of becomes like a little bit more, the grip curve becomes a little bit more concave, so it's easier to get to the limit, but the limit is overall slower. So as I got a little bit more used to the driving, I just kept adding toe out, and it got somewhere very similar to my road settings. Now in terms of rear toe, you can see that I'm towed in on the rear left. I don't know if that's super correct, considering what people do in oval racing, but my whole idea was to try and minimize the impact of my rear left tire, because, for example, when we race our front wheel drive cars, they are very aggressively set up to oversteer, because they are very simple cars. They are basically eco boxes that have they have very limited front end grip, especially being front wheel drive. So what we do is we make them rear wheel steer to make it go through corners nicely. So we just run really high spring rates. So if you're familiar with spring rate numbers, we run from 800 to 1200 pounds per inch springs on the rear. And if you take into consideration that it's a 900 kilogram car with somewhere in the neighborhood of 70% weight bias on the nose, you can kind of picture how insane that actually is. That's, I would say that's pretty much 10 times the stock spring rate value that those cars run from stock. And we also run a shitload of toe out on the rear. So what that does, whenever you're going into a corner, whenever the car settles into the turn, that rear wheel is pointed out, so you kind of get into a state that I call getting into toe. The rear toe, it is kind of like always acting on the car in a sense, but the way we use it, we kind of get into the trail of that toe. So we get into the turn, the weight starts sitting on the rear outer tire, and that toe just starts making the car rotate like that. So that's how we drive those cars. I can probably show you onboards. I'm pretty sure that a lot of people have watched that already on my channel. But when we're in that state on those front wheel drive cars, if you've watched any kind of front wheel drive car, being that a TCR or those lower level shit boxes, they always have their inside rear wheel in the air. So both rear tires are very towed out. But if that rear inside wheel is not in the air, the two sides of the car are gonna be fighting to get in the toe. So since the rear is also linked, what we call, so we kind of limit the travel of the rear axle as to, like, if you lift the car an inch from the ground, the rear wheel will lift by an inch. It's like there's no negative travel in the suspension. So since that happens, you don't have that canceling out of the rear toe. So you only have the outer tire driving on the toe. But that's not the case with the Mazda. This is a rear-wheel drive car. It's meant to have negative travel on the rear suspension. So if you have a lot of toe out, both sides, it's going to be good for cornering for both sides. So it's going to be good for a road course. But if we're only looking to turn left, I don't want that inside rear wheel to be fighting against my outer rear wheel, which is kind of determining the kind of angle that I'm gonna have through the corner. So if I dial back the rear toe, the car is gonna be a lot more understeery, especially from the apex onwards. So at 17 toe, I found that I got within a good balance between grip and being able to smash the throttle and get traction out of the corner, but also have a little bit extra rotation to help me go around the turn and take some of the load from the front axle. So these are kind of the numbers that I kind of got into, and I'm decently satisfied with it. So in terms of dampers, you can see that it's heavily staggered. The left side, I felt that it didn't really impact the way that the car was handling, except for the rear bump. If my rear left bump was way too high, I found that the car was a little bit too understeery on corner exits. And it was just kind of weird. So once I understood that, I landed on these values, and it was just kind of like I found that I noticed that it wasn't really super important or relevant, so I just added some lower values to help the stagger situation of the car and just left it at that. Now the right side of the car, is interesting. Very early on, I noticed that bump at 6 would be kind of ideal. So we want to have enough bump to have support, but we don't want to have too much bump, as in a way that that's gonna take grip away from the car, because it's something that I want to do in the future, and kind of go through all of these motions with you guys in terms of setup building. Is that every time I start a setup, I start from the springs, because the springs are the pillars that support the weight of the car. Okay. And springs, depending on what track and what car you're driving, they have a natural frequency. So when you know the natural frequency that you need for the car, that's pretty much, you have a solid base. And this kind of tuning must come from the shop. It's like, you're not changing springs on track. If you do that, you didn't do your homework properly, and that's you losing track time and starting your setup from scratch, basically, because you either didn't have the prior knowledge from other sessions and other years and other times you were at that track, or you didn't calculate them correctly. So that's the starting point on a setup. So talking about setups and dampers, once we have the correct frequency in dampers found, it's like, this is mine for this track. Since I don't really know how to get those frequencies in hertz on how the suspension is working on certain track. It's kind of like trial and error, but also knowing what works and what doesn't, and what every change is gonna do to the car. So this is what I landed for this specific combo. You can see that I have a really high spring rate on the rear right, just to unload the car a little bit more, because if the car kind of got hunkered down, and that would kind of bog the engine. It would also make the car easier to drive, but it would bog the engine. So this is why my engine is like always breathing and my revs are always going up. It's because the car has enough support to not get bogged down. And this is what I mean by having the correct pillars on your setup. So once you have that dialed, you need to talk dampers, because dampers, they're there to dampen the frequency of the shock. So Aris Drives has a great visual explanation that I'm gonna do in the future for when I do a video dedicated about this. But for now, there's another explanation. So if your dampers are too soft, what happens is that your car is gonna be underdamped. So if you take an old car, for example, so you place your weight on top of the front fender, and you press on it, and you take your weight out of it, the car is going to be bouncing. It's going to be like this until the frequency dials out and the car stays stationary again. But there's also overdamped, whenever you have too much, you have your damper set too high. So what overdamped feels like is you're going to press on your fender and it's not going to move, because your damper didn't really just dial out and dampen the remaining frequencies of the spring. It kind of inhibited the spring from working. That's the whole thing. So that's overdamped. And what we want in a car is to have critical dampening. And critical dampening is what everyone looks for, no matter what kind of car you're driving. Being that if you take a stock 5 Series, a 2024 5 Series, it comes from BMW with critical dampening. If you take a GT3 car at Daytona, for example, it's going to have critical dampening. But what happens is the critical dampening is happening in different resolutions and different scales, you know? So that's the thing, like we always want to work within that critical dampening phase. Now, within the critical dampening phase, you also have a little bit of adjustment. So for the MX-5, for example, generally the critical dampening happens between 5, the adjustment 5, if you're running a softer spring, but generally from 6 to 8. And between that 6 to 8 adjustment, you can dial the dampers to your liking. So the front bump, it's kind of going to be a thing that's gonna, it just gives a little bit more support to the front end. So it's kind of hard to explain what it feels like. You can just test it out with you can try very extreme values and see what it does. It's the front bump is something that I would like for you to find out by yourself, but generally the other ones I can help you with. So the front rebound, it does give you support on the way into the turn. So if your car is a little bit too snappy, once you get off the brakes, something like that, having a little bit more front rebound can help you with that, together with rear bump, but I'm going to talk about that later. But what I normally use the front rebound for is to kind of dictate the exit angle I'm going to have coming out of a turn. For example, you guys raced at Interlagos recently, at week 2 in LFM, and you know how strict those track limits can be. So I started with my front rebound at 8, I believe, and I was running off track every single time at Curva do Lago. And I kind of remembered from past races that I was really using that front rebound to kind of help me in that sense. And once I took my front rebound from 8 to 7, I immediately started not having a single off track. Just because with it at 8, I was having so much understeer, so it's like the front was being pushed up, those front shocks were being pushed up, and it's like the front end was kind of floating out, and I couldn't bring it back in. So when I dropped it to 7, they were a little bit more hunkered down on the exit of turn, they were a lot more balanced and neutral, and I wasn't understeering. So okay, that was a good change, let me try and go down to 6. But at 6, the car was oversteering because the rebound didn't have enough strength to push those shocks up. So after I left the corner, the shocks were hunkered down, they were kind of compressed, and they didn't decompress enough. So coming out of the turn, it's like the front end of the car was still being pushed down, and the car was kind of, it feels like the car is rotating around its own axis. You can imagine what it would be like for you to drive a Hammer. I'm not talking about the AMG, not a Hummer as well, a Hammer. So think about that. This is the front of the Hammer, the part that you should be using to hit stuff. Imagine that's the front of the car. You can imagine that the Hammer would be kind of doing like this, because that front is really hunkered down. So what I mean by that is that that's all critical dampening, but that's also fine-tuning inside that critical dampening state. So you can kind of use that to your you can kind of use that the next time you're messing with the setup. Now, the way I like setting up my rebound is I have it as high up as I can without understeering. So having a little bit more rebound, if you try to squeeze out a little bit more rebound up front, I find that it really helps with rear traction coming out of corners, especially like third gear corners, like the right-hander uphill that we're gonna have at Watkins Glen next week. It really helps, just because the weight is not lost and kind of stuck on the front end of the car because the shocks are not being pushed up, so it's kind of neutral and even a little bit shifted to the rear, so that really helps with the rear traction. So that's front rebound. Now, rear bump, it's a really interesting thing. If you look online, you're always going to be hearing about that. The higher rear bump you have, the more oversteer you're going to have coming off the brakes. So at the end of trail braking and going into a turn. That's not absolutely true, because nothing in motorsports is dealt with absolutes. It kind of is if you're talking like really specifically about stuff, but in a macro state, nothing is done by absolutes, and there's no such thing as a recipe to follow. So within, like, if you're out of that critical dampening phase, yes. So if you go like 10, 11, 12 bump, yeah, you're gonna have a shit ton of oversteer whenever you come off the brakes. But if you go lower, so if you're under the critical dampening, you're also gonna have oversteer, but for a different reason. So if the bump is too high, the rear end doesn't move enough, so it doesn't load, and you just lose traction for being too stiff. But if the bump is too soft, you also lose the rear end, but you lose the rear end in a sense that's a little bit more similar to how a road car loses the rear end. So one thing that's super important, and I've talked about this on my Assetto Corsa Evo stream, is that the reason why I think that going to a track day with your road car can be very cool and fun and something that you should do, but you need to also be very careful, especially on high load corners. So we have turn 1 at Tarumã, for example. It's my home track here in Brazil, and it's a very high load corner. And what happens there in the middle of the turn is like you kind of get a bump in the compression phase. So in that compression phase, you can the rear can kind of get hunkered down, and you can saturate the rear in grip, and you're gonna lose the rear as well because you saturated it. So there's two ways of losing the rear end. You can both lose it for being too stiff or too soft. So if you're outside that critical dampening phase, that's what's gonna happen. But inside the critical dampening phase is like, for example, if you go into a track and everything is a little bit kind of like this, for example. So you have your front bump at 7 and rear and rebound at 8, for example. I really like this balance of having the rebound one click higher than bump. The value itself, it's something that you kind of need to go by trial and error in the track. So you can, like, if you're starting a new track and you don't know what to do in terms of dampers, just do this, for example, like this. No matter the scale, like it can be like this, but I like starting with that spread because that spread tends to be a little bit neutral and kind of works everywhere, okay? But you're gonna find sometime that you're facing a little bit of a oversteer on entry when you come off the brakes if you have your damper set to something like this. So you decide to go a little bit up in dampening. Okay, now when I'm going into the turn, I'm coming off the brakes, I'm transferring the weight to the outside tires, and it's a little bit better. My rear end is not stepping out. Okay, let's go a little bit further. Okay, it's even more stable. Now the car's kind of weird on exit. It's kind of like understeering a little bit on exit too, but it's very stable. Okay, let's go one higher. Okay, now I'm coming off the brakes and I'm having oversteer again. That's what I mean. It's like you can lose the rear end by both having too low or too high of a bump setting. Okay? Is that clear, boys? And rear rebound, I find that the rear rebound is something that it's the setting that really gives you, like, talking about a driving point of view now. It's a damper setting that really gives you that idea of, okay, this car's stiff. It's like, yeah, I'm bumping around a little bit. Like, you can see that the car is skipping over bumps. I'm oversteering a little bit everywhere. So it's just something that you need to find something that down to your liking, okay? And then bars. Bars is a really interesting thing. It's like I tend to have mine for this car at 2, just because I feel like that's enough support. It gives me enough support to make the car handle good. It doesn't really scrub the front tires too much, and it gives me a lot of rear end traction, just because that front end is not diving side to side and taking grip away from crossweight jacking. So that's what I normally run. But a lot of people seem to take my setups and bump it up to 3, which is very good. The car becomes a little bit easier to drive. It gives you a little bit more feedback. So it kind of behaves in a sense that's very similar to that front toe that I mentioned. It's like kind of like the front toe in the sense like, I remember a time in Tarumã that we were testing our car there for a race, and my crew chief decided to, okay, I'm gonna tow the front end in a little bit and tell me what you feel, okay? So I went out of the pits, I did 1 lap, and I was like, holy shit, this car's a rocket ship now. It's like I can do whatever I want in corners. And then I came back to the pits and it was like, oh, you were 4/10 slower. So it gives you a better feeling because it delivers more grip early on, but the grip ceiling is lower, right? So it makes the car easier to drive, but it's overall a little bit slower. So if it gives you a little bit more confidence to drive faster, what can I say? It's better for you, right? Front springs, we talked about it already. Now the rear bar, it's kind of like, do you want traction or do you want support mid-corner? And by support, I mean the rear not getting hunkered down and bogging the engine as well. If you have the bar at 0, it's amazing what you can get away with in terms of low-speed corners. If the track is kind of like a 3rd gear and up only, you should never have your bar at 0. Just because it's going to give you traction, but you don't really need it. You just need the car to maintain momentum and have that support mid-corner, because that's when you're going to feel the bar, from mid-corner onwards. The moment the rear end loads up mid-corner, that's when you're going to feel the presence or the absence of the bar. So you can kind of feel that the rear end kind of just steps out a little bit, which is good if you use it to your advantage. And the final tuning aspect, height. We try being as low as possible, always, but we want to respect the rake. That's the thing. It's like, if you have springs like this, for example, which are the springs that I'm using for next week at Watkins Glen, okay? So you can see that my front end is at 113 millimeters, and the rear is at almost 120. Oh. Yeah. Like, okay, this track is not... Yeah, there you go. So you can see that the rear is higher than the front. I find that this car doesn't really like that. A lot from setting up low-powered cars is trying to not bog the engine down and keep up that momentum. So I always like running from neutral rake, between neutral rake and something kind of like this, 3 to 4 millimeters higher up front. Again, that just frees up the front end, makes the car not bogged down in corners, and the way you dial in the correct amount of rake is that I find that whenever your front end is too low, you kind of get the same behavior as having the front rebound too low. So the car starts kind of rotating around its own axis. So you can kind of play with those two things. So if you're having that behavior, you can either lower the rear or mess with the rebound, okay? And you're gonna have to see like which one of those settings gives you like the behavior that you want without sacrificing the rest too much. And one tool that I use a lot to set up my cars during practice is this app called Pocket Technician. This is what I use for setup development during my hot laps. and you can see like I can drive around and I can start messing with the settings of the car. You can see that I am real time messing with my setup, you see? So that just helps you save time, because I mean my hot lap sessions doing setup development, they already take like 1 or 2, sometimes even 3 hours depending on the car. So this just helps me save time, and it's not like, I mean, yeah, it's just being efficient, right? So this is what I use. This is what you can use for yourself to try and understand the handling of the car further, because even though my setups are the best, because it's what I use, so it's the best for me, it doesn't mean that it's going to be the best for you. So it's always good whenever someone comes to me and says, oh, I love your setup, but I need the front bar at 3, for example, or a little bit more rear camber, as Andy Shaw pointed out last week. That's perfect, because you're adapting the car to your driving, right? So that's always good. You can always take a good baseline. My setups should be baselines for you, and you should tailor it to your driving, because we are different people. We are different drivers. We have different pace. We have different techniques. I'm not talking about being faster or slower. We're not the same people. And the beauty in motorsports is that there are many ways to get to the same or a similar result doing things differently. And I think on that note, I think that's it for today, boys. It was a lovely time. I hope you guys were able to learn something and have fun watching the race, which was really cool. And as I said last week, we're going to be doing this many times now. I really enjoyed this whole streaming thing, and it's been a pleasure. So I hope you guys enjoyed spending your afternoon here with me. Yes, Felix, absolutely. Absolutely. That's something you should do. It really is something you should do. Realism, it's something that you should always take with a grain of salt. Yeah, I love realism. I try to be as realistic as possible, because I want to take this thing that I learn on the sim and take it to my real races. But not everything needs to be realistic, you know? So that's the kind of realism that can be skipped. Yep, I'm glad you got in the race too, Kev. Had a nice P3. It's such a shame that Adam was running out of fuel there. I don't know what happened. I don't know why you didn't read chat, Adam, because we said in chat you should have 20 liters. My pleasure, Craig. My pleasure. So, all right, boys. I'm gonna take a shower, drink some water, and the track guides and setups should be coming out within the hour. So I hope to see you guys there watching and learning for next week, and it should be a great one. So thank you so much, boys. Take care. Have a good rest of your Sunday. And that's it for me. Later.